Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to the segment of Coach Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day. Our recitation follows. Gauri Mahalla Panjava, Har Pekhan ko Simrat man Mera, a-sabad-a-day chitwon din raini, hai koi sant milave nera, rahao. सेवा करो दास दासन की अनेक भांत तिस करो निहोरा तुला तार तोले सुख सगले बिन हर दर्श सबो ही थोरा संत प्रसाद गए गुण सागर जन्म जन्म को जात बहोरा आनंद सुख भेटत हर नानक जन्म कृतार्थ सफल सवेरा आनंद सुख भेटत हर नानक जन्म कृतार्थ सफल savera. On achieving success in life and what the meaning of that success is, that is what we will try and uncover in this passage. The Guru says, Har Pekhan ko Simrat man Mera. My mind is desirous. It wishes to realize the Har self. And as a result, remains in constant remembrance. Simrat man Mera. And I'm filled with hope. Aas pyasi. Chitmo din rahni. I remember the self day and night. All the time. Hai koi sant milave nera? Is there a sant? This is the search for the Guru. Is there an enlightener who can unite me with the one who is close? Nera. So we find here that the Satgur, the enlightener, is the transformative presence. It is like the catalyst that is needed to achieve a kind of a alchemical reaction. So the analogy of a catalyst serves us well when we think about the Satgur. We need the presence of the Satgur in order to achieve self-realization. The alchemy of transforming the base metal, meaning Haume, into the self Har. So the Har self and the Satgur might appear to be distinct, but that is because of our conceptualization. But in fact, they are part of the same continuum, and ultimately they're indistinguishable from one another. Because you see, self-realization and self-knowledge are inseparable, and the Satgur, by definition, is knowledge. So self-knowledge essentially is the abandonment of Haume identity. It is the recognition or the realization that our Haume identity is no more than a socially conditioned mental contraption. When we understand that, when Haume is relinquished, then what is left is the self. So Guru Arjan here, in seeking the enlightener, hai koi sant milave, is really asking for the knowledge that will dissolve Haume. But what is worthy of note is the intensity and persistence of his desire. He's talking about constant remembrance, of being filled with hope and expectation. So we need to look at ourselves and ask, what indeed is our motivation? Are we similarly motivated? Seva karo das dasan ki, anik bhant tis karo nihora. Further evidence of dedication. Seva karo das dasan ki, I attend to, I'll serve the servants of the masters. In other words, the servant of servants, because the master or the Satgur is the servant of Har, or And so that is, again, a hierarchy conceptually. But the point being that the Guru here is saying, Guru Arjan is saying, I would serve the servants of that household, and I would make many an entreaty. Anikabhant. This is karo nihora, and nihora is a plea, a petition. Because Guru Arjan says, he's reached this point because he says, I have weighed all worldly experiences. Tuladhar tulle sukh sagale. Sagale, sare sukh. I have weighed them on the scale of my mind. Tuladhar. Bin har daras sabho hi thoda. What I have discovered is that without the wisdom of the Har Self, they all fall short. That's another way of saying they're all partial pleasures. Because I am without Har wisdom, I'm not holistic. So Guru Arjan has experienced the world like we do and found it wanting. That is a feeling that I think a lot of us can identify with, because our lives are filled with a lack of satisfactoriness, or sukh, as he says here. Tolle sukh sagale. We feel like we are stuck in a rut. We feel burnt out, unappreciated, lacking in direction, not knowing where to turn. And that leads to boredom, which causes all kinds of neurosis. And so Guru Arjan turns to finding or discovering a sant. Sant either as an embodiment or as a principle that can enlighten. So we have to notice what is our motivation and how persistent are we. He is willing to serve the servants, making all manner of supplications. In other words, doing whatever it takes. And we often lack that persistence. Sant prasad gaye gun sagar janam janam ko jat bahora. Janam janam ko jat. My long entanglement in the world. Janam janam ko jat. Ko jat means where I always turned to, where I always went for a long time. Worldly entanglements. But when the graceful enlightener led me down another path, Gaye Gun Sagar. He took me to the ocean of qualities, into the world of qualities. So, under the graceful guidance of the enlightener, Guru Arjan says, I experienced the ocean of qualities, and my mind, long entangled in the world, turned back to its source. It turned inwards. And then what happened? Anand sukha pe thit har nanak, janam kritarth safal safera. Very, very significant. Anand sukh, bliss. I obtained bliss when I found the self. And my life, janam kritarth safal savera, successful. Success was achieved. So the fifth Nanak is saying that when he was led down another path by the enlightener to the ocean of qualities, life was then deemed an unqualified success. So turning away from the world should not be construed to mean that you are renouncing the world. Far from it. What it means is that you're looking at it with fresh eyes. That is what Guru Arjan is saying, that the Satguru essentially gave him a new paradigm with which to approach and experience the world. So the question is, what is this paradigm? And what are success and a new dawn? Safal-a-day. So as you know, a paradigm shift actually means a quantum leap. It doesn't just mean a small incremental change. It means a revolutionary change in our worldview or lens through which we see the world. And that is what the Sant or the Guru intends to do. Bring about a radical change in the way we see the world. Because you see, our current lens or paradigm is framed by Haume, which is, as we said, nothing more than a socially conditioned meme. And what that does is it constricts and distorts our view of reality. It is like holding an inaccurate roadmap. It can never lead you to the right destination. The Gurmat paradigm, on the other hand, is based on the self with a capital S as opposed to Haume. It is in fact a corrective to our partial and flawed understanding of who we are individually, because we are not merely social constructs, but we are in need of the divine essence that happens to be going through a social experience. And as someone has aptly said, your identity is your destiny. The way you view yourself will drive what you do or don't do. So if you think of yourself as a social construct, Haume, then you're going to be driven by the social memes around you. But if you view yourself as an expression of the divine, well, then your worldview is going to be much more universal. And that is why Gurmat introduces us to universal principles and qualities that are actually hardwired into us. I name two of them: Hukam, natural and moral law, and Naam, creative intelligence. Together, they make us a satyara, which is the goal of Gurmat, truth aligned, which is nothing more than the capacity to make right choices anytime and anywhere. This is the meaning of Hukam Rajai Chalna, Nanak Likhya Naal. And for the Guru, achieving success, Safal-a-day, does not mean achieving some socially defined measure, but operating from a different dimension altogether. And that dimension is one of personal significance. That is to say, to find personal meaning in what you do, to obtain. On that note, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.